Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we smash apart the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute chunks so we can analyze them in scrupulous detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Road to Infinity podcast.
And I'm Rob Cabasco, and Kyle?
Yes, sir.
I got nothing.
Nothing?
Okay.
So you're saying that never in your life has there been a time when the love of your life is top of you while you're having a medical procedure and the mad scientist is around, doing experiments on your blood? Like nothing in that scene relates to anything in your life?
And she's screaming, do it? No, it doesn't. It never happened. That has not happened.
Yeah, every once in a while, a minute will come along that is not really like anything that's ever happened in your life.
do you know okay, so let's just give you guys the background story of this, right? Like,
right.
I always try to like surprise you with whatever the banter's going to be.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're going to throw at me in these intros.
No, so because we want to keep it lively and we want to keep this creative. And we were prepping for this, and we literally just looked at each other for like 40 seconds and just went, I don't know.
I got nothing. I'm totally blank. Yeah.
I got no childhood story. I got no weird 70s sitcom.
Nope.
I got no toy. I got no... I mean, I could maybe pull in a Stretch Armstrong joke, but I think we've used Stretch Armstrong.
We have.
We've used Stretch Armstrong. Like, yeah. I just am like...
I got no comic references for it. I mean...
No, I don't know what this means. What is happening? I'm sure this will change. I'm sure this will pass.
Yeah.
But for now,
that's right.
We're just gonna see where this goes.
That's right. Here at minute 79 of the Incredible Hulk film from 2008, directed by Louis Leterrier. Oh, you thought of something?
No, 79.
79.
My first car I ever owned was 79 MGB. I loved it. Oh my god! And here's why. Okay, here's why.
Ooh, you snuck it in right under the wire.
It was amazing because, okay, it's a convertible. It's an old British Roadster. 79 was the last of the normal issues because they actually ended production in 80. So the MGBs, which are by that time they were the rubber bumper models, the 1980s were all these special editions, which was nice. They're very pretty. They're all black and everything else. But I had one of the last of the original ones, and hanging in my home office is the emblem because the car is no longer with us. They were prone to rust and they had lots of issues. In the winter, to get them to start up, you'd have to pull all the spark plugs out and like brush them. And who am I kidding? I didn't do that. My father did that. so let's just say. Yeah.
Well, I hate to break this to you, as our eagle-eared listeners are saying, but you've already talked about the car.
Wait, I talked about the car?
Yeah. I think we talked about it back when Bruce was buying his first car. You talked about your first car.
Have we talked about Fonzie?
We have talked about Fonzie really recently. And of course, have we talked about real people and Skip Stevenson?
Have I? Have I jumped the shark?
Oh, God.
Wait, is that what's happening?
And we're starting to hallucinate? Oh, God. Where are we? What's happening? Are we still talking about Hulk?
This is hard.
I know.
I mean, does everybody know?
I tell you, oh man, we're in Act 3. We're getting into the dregs, and oh boy, it's hard to put stuff together.
Does this, for those of you who've been coming along for the ride and said, why are these guys so excited about this movie? I've seen this movie. I don't understand what's happening. Listen, this is where we are now.
Yeah.
This is life.
Yeah. Sometimes things don't go the way you expect them to, as we're going to see in here in this minute.
So the werewolf, we left with the werewolf
we
on
left
the
off
bed?
the werewolf. That's right. So we pick up where we left off, which is Bruce screaming in pain as our souls are screaming that existential pain with him. So he obviously has begun transforming. He's not fully green yet, but he's greenish. He's a shade of green.
Grayish green.
Grayish green, that's right.
Yeah.
So as he's transforming, Stearns goes to run over and activate the mechanism to fire up the injectors, turbines to speed, and Betty stops him and she says, "Wait, there's more."
Yeah.
And Stearns has this great reaction of like, really? Like,
and his
oh,
reaction is not the
boy.
reaction. It's not horror. It's
Yeah.
Let me grab my popcorn.
Yay!
See.
So and then in the transformation, I thought what was neat in this is when you get to see from above, and we finally see the Hulk has fully emerged. His head has now become like the Hulk head that we've come to know. And love.
Yes.
When that happens, then everything else transforms too. So he goes fully green, like his size doubles, and all the restraints, they're not doing such a good job of restraining anymore. So then Betty jumps on top of him to like try and get him to focus on her. She's saying, "Bruce." She turns to Stearns and says, "Now, do it." Do it! Come on! What are you waiting for? Do it!
Get to the chopper or something else that you should be doing. Now, there is one thing in the middle of this, in all this action, there is a really neat shot. I do think that is this is a nice little sort of positioning shot on what is happening. They cut to the bottom underneath the slab.
This is my favorite effects in this.
Yes. This is really well done.
Yeah, so Stearns is in awe being right next to the Hulk, like, oh, look at him. He's so green and beautiful. And so the Hulk, as he's flailing around, the Hulk backhands him, and he drops to the ground. And that's when you see, like, basically because of the increased mass of the Hulk, it's starting to compress the stand that the bed is on. It's such a cool effect. I think that was practical, too. Like, they had something to compress it like it was... a bendable metal to do it. It could have been CG, it could have been great CG, but it felt to me like it was an actual practical effect. And so,
see, I thought it was CG because it was so good. Because it was so good. Because it had the exact right crinkles to where your eye immediately went to the places it needed to go to process what was happening.
Okay. Yeah,
it was too perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. But now the Hulk has shown up. Bruce is gone. Like, this is the Hulk. He is here. He is awake. He is pissed, and he is trying to get free. The only thing stopping him is Betty. She's still under the belief that this is Bruce.
Right.
Just trapped somewhere deep under all this, anger and stuff too. Like, this is still Bruce in a transformed body. Is he? I don't know. The jury's still out on that. But so then she's still trying to get Stearns to do it. So she's like, Stearns, the antidote, do it now. She says, Bruce, look in my eyes. And, when Liv Tyler's standing in front of you, she's looking in your eyes. You're gonna. We talked about this right before we start recording too. She is at her most elven in this scene.
Yeah.
She is the most ethereal looking for whatever reason, angle or hair or like you talked about
lens flares.
Yeah, it could be.
It's the lens flares.
She looks the most like Arwen in the scene than she has.
It is weird. We did note in the still shots how her hair drapes in a way that it does make her ears
a little bit pointy.
It's not. Yeah, I don't. I mean, that can't be. I don't know. I mean, it just does. It really does in this scene. Yeah.
So then Stearns goes over and presses the button, but it doesn't work. So in true Millennium Falcon fashion, this is not my fault. So he goes running over and gives the machine the boot.
Big old kick.
And then it comes back on. And then we see the purple fluid finally going through. So then everything then is starting to change. So we see the purple fluid is now injected into the green blood that's going through, and then turning it back into red blood, and then we see in the tubes the red blood going back into the Hulk, which is a really cool effect because we saw the green blood going out before. So this is the dialysis machine is doing its job. Like green blood goes out, red blood goes in.
Did you not think immediate callback to the beverage?
Oh, I had not thought about
because
that.
the green liquid and remember the blood drop, and I really got a whole thing like, oh wow, this is again full circle. Nice little storytelling here. They've definitely end capped some of their stuff.
They're doing some nice job with colors.
Yes, absolutely.
Their colors, their spectrum is very well here. So speaking of which, as the blood goes back in, we see the Hulk react to it instantly. Like as soon as the first drop of blood hits him, he feels a difference, and they cut to a close-up shot of his face. And his eyes have turned blue.
Nice.
That's the first time we've ever seen that. Like the Hulk with blue eyes. It was like this, moment. Like it's starting to do it. And so then he, like all of a sudden, the intensity like drops down a little bit. And he, instead of from the scream, he goes down to a growl as they're like, oh. and like he's starting to calm down a little bit. And that's where our minute comes to an end.
Yeah, we get a final shot of Stearns. You don't see the Hulk, you just see him.
Yeah.
Just like his hand or something. Okay, so this whole sequence obviously is meant to be high energy, super tense. I thought a little bit of Frankenstein.
Oh, yes, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like in terms of the flashing lights and the lens flares and the pops and everything. You definitely had the whole it's alive sort of vibe. No, I really love the use of color. Like I think this is, even though, yes, we did laugh at the beginning. Like, okay, we don't have a whole lot. We've talked about the laboratory. We've talked about him. We talked about her. This was just the moment of transformation and detransformation, or the beginnings of that.
Right.
But I think the color usage between the serum, the tainted blood, and the clean blood and the eyes, nicely done. This is a great visual way to show the audience what's happening in 60 seconds.
It's pretty impressive CG too. I mean, even
Yes.
back for 10 years or more, all the way back then, that you have a fully CG creature and you have a person on top of it. And you don't have any of that like weird blurry lines of like when it's making contact. I mean, like the fact that they're cutting at various different angles, and so
Right.
you never really doubt that there is a big green monster in the room.
He's wiggly. He's a little wiggly. Now, granted, he's not Blonsky wiggly hitting the tree, which we talked about. I think that was the Stretch Armstrong conversation, actually. Like, I mean, he's not like that. I mean, I would say it's much better. But kudos, again, because of the time and because here you did this in full light.
Yes.
This is a fully illuminated
Yeah.
sequence.
Bright illumination.
Yes.
Too. Not even like sunshine like we saw in the Culver University fight.
So very, very
medical
unforgiving
lighting.
as far as, detail
Yeah.
and correct motion blurs and all of the placement of real life stuff. And they've done a nice job here.
And this is just me being dumb. When I thought about when you saw the Hulk is fully transformed and he has that striped, to his muscles, like we saw really clearly when he
the
first
skin
emerged.
pulling.
The skin pulling that way too.
Yeah.
That's what Blonsky looks like now. Like in
Right.
his mid thing, he has that same sort of. I hadn't really made that connection before. And I'm still annoyed by it. I'm still annoyed by it because they're two different processes, and why would they create the same results?
Well, I mean, maybe there's, but there's two trains
I
are
know.
coming together, colliding.
Yeah. It's almost like they're headed for a confrontation between these two.
Oh, wait, what?
What? I don't know. Who's Blonsky? He's not even in this minute. We shouldn't even be talking about him.
What are you talking about? What?
I guess maybe we'll find out more in minute 80.
Minute 80?
In minute 80. Coming into the home stretch here. So in the meantime, if you like what we're doing here, despite the fact that we had to tap dance our way through an intro, you can support us by going to Patreon. That's right, Patreon. First of all, shout out to all our Patreon people who are hearing this a week early. Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. Enjoy the private access, guys. You get to hear these jokes before anybody. Boo, boo, boo. The rest of you, if you want to get into this action early, you can go to Patreon and subscribe. And even for just $1 a month, you can have early access to all of our next real shows and live streamings and other bonus content we're going to be putting out, Hulk-related and non-Hulk related. You get all sorts of good stuff from all of our shows for even just $1 a month. And those of you who have a little more and want to give a little more, you'll get a little more.
And maybe just a few dollars of that will go towards beverages that will help recharge my brain.
That's right. By Rob Pingo Dose with Patreon. You can go to thenextreel.com/Patreon to find out more. So thank you all for listening. I'll be back here for minute 80. Hope you had a smashing good time. Until next time, true believers.
Bye.